Okay, Counting Principles and Probability, Grade 12, Exam Questions, November 2020, Paper 1, Question 10 from DBE. Okay, this is the question 10 from DBE. The total is 7 marks. Okay. Okay, let me get the question again. Question 10 from November 2020. This is the question. Okay, question 10 from November 2020. Question 10. In a certain country, 10-digit telephone numbers with the following format were introduced. Okay, the format, you have area code, exchange code, and number. And the number of digits that you are requested for the area code, you must have 3 digits. And for the exchange code, you must have 3 digits. And for the number, you must have 4 digits. Okay, and you have an example. Okay, this is just an example. Okay, so digits may be repeated. Okay, you are told that digits may be repeated. Now, question 10.1. How many possible 10-digit telephone numbers could be formed? 2 marks. Okay, this is what you are given. For the area code, you are requested to have 3 digits. Okay, let me do this. 3 circles. Okay, for the area code, you are requested to have 3 digits. And for the exchange code, you are requested to have 3 digits. Okay, and for the number, you are requested to have 4 digits. Okay, let me do this. You are going to choose from these digits. Okay, you know that when forming a number, we are going to choose from these digits. How many are they? You have 10 of them. Okay, you can see that 1 up to 9, you have 9 plus 0, you have 10. Okay, you are going to choose from these 10 digits to form your telephone number. Okay, now let's start. With the area code, you have to get 3 digits. When forming the first digit, you have 10 options. Okay, you have 10 options. You can choose 0 or 1 or 2 or any of the digits. Okay, you have 10 digits. So you have 10 options. And for the second digit, remember, digits may be repeated. So for example, you can choose 1 on the first digit and you can still use 1 again. Okay, so digits may be repeated. So for the second digit, you still have 10 options. Okay, because digits may be repeated. If you are told that digits may not be repeated, then after using 1 digit, you are going to remain with 9. You are going to have 9 options. Because digit may be repeated, you're still going to have 10 options. Okay, 10 options from this. So for the second digit, you're going to have 10 options. And for the third one, because digit may be repeated, you're still going to have 10 options from this. Okay, you can choose any digit from these 10. Now let's form the exchange code. Okay, for the exchange code, you need 3 digits. You are going to choose from the 10 digits. Okay, so for the first digit for the exchange code, you have 10 options. And the second digit, you still have 10 options because digit may be repeated. Okay, and for the third one, you have 10 options. Okay, we are done with exchange code. And for the number, you need 4 digits. To form your first digit of the number, you have 10 options. Okay, the second digit, you have 10 options. The third digit, you have 10 options. And the fourth digit, you still have 10 options because digits may be repeated. Okay, now to find out how many possible 10-digit telephone numbers could be formed, you are going to multiply these numbers. Okay, you can see you have 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. How many? 10 times. Okay, like this. And this is equal to this. Okay, 10 billion. So you have 10 billion telephone numbers could be formed. Okay, you can also give your answer like this: 10 to the power of 10, because you have 10 zeros. Okay, you have 10 zeros, so you can give your answer as 10 to the power of 10. Now question 10.2. Now we are going to solve 10.2.1. Okay, 10.2. Certain restrictions were placed on the groups of digits. Okay, the area code. For the area code, there is a restriction. Area code must be 3 digits. Okay, you still have 3 digits, so you have 3 circles. Area code must be 3 digits, as in the previous question, and the first digit cannot be 0 or 1. The first digit cannot be 0 or 1. This you can see in this example, the first digit is 9. Okay, now the restriction says the first digit cannot be 0 or 1. So you are going to exclude 0 and 1. So you are going to be left with 8 options. When you exclude 0 and 1, you are going to be left with 8 options. Okay, you can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 options for the first digit. Okay, so you are going to have 8 options for the first digit when you exclude 0 and 1. Okay, you can see, so the restriction is only applied to the first digit. So the second digit, you're still going to have 10 options, and the third digit, you're still going to have 10 options. The restriction is only applied to the first digit. You are told the first digit cannot be 0 or 1. So 2 digits are excluded, 0 or 1. You only have from 2 up to 9. Okay, so you have 8 options for the first digit. Okay, now for the exchange code, there is a restriction. Okay, exchange code, you're still going to have 3 digits. Okay, exchange code must be 3 digits. So let me have 3 circles. And you are told the first and second digit cannot be 0 or 1. So you are going to exclude 0 and 1. So you are going to have only 8 options. Okay, for the first and second digit. Only 8 options. Okay, for the first and second digit. Only 8 options. When you exclude 0 and 1. Okay, only 8 options. And for the third digit, there is no restriction. So you're still going to have 10 options for the third digit. Okay, so this is what you are told. The restriction is only applied to the first and second digit. Okay, you exclude 0 and 1. You are left with 8 options. Okay, now for the number, the number must be 4 digits. Okay, 4 digits. And the first digit must be a 0 or 1. So you have only 0 or 1 for the first digit. You can see that you have only 2 options. Okay, only 2 options. It can be 0 or 1 only. So you have only 2 options for the first digit when forming the number. So the restriction is only applied to the first digit. Okay, for the second, third, and fourth, there is no restriction. So you're still going to have 10 options. Okay, 10 options. So now, to find how many valid 10-digit telephone numbers could be formed by applying the given restriction. Okay, you are going to multiply these numbers. Okay, you have 8 times 10 times 10. And then you have times 8 times 8 times 10. Okay, times 8 times 8 times 10. And then you have times 2 times 10 times 10 times 10. Okay, times 2 times 10 times 10 times 10. Okay, so this is how you can get the number of telephone numbers. You are going to multiply these numbers. This is equal to, use your calculator. So I have 8 times 10 times 10 times 8 times 8 times 10 times 2 times 10 3 times. Okay. So this is what you have. Okay. Or you can give your answer in scientific notation like this: 1.024 times 10 to the power of 9. Okay. Now, question 10.2.2. Let me get the question again. It's question 10 from November 2020. Now, question 10.2.2. Determine the probability that any randomly chosen 10-digit telephone number would be a valid phone number, 2 marks. So, the probability is equal to, when you have a restriction, you have this number of telephone numbers. Okay, when you have a restriction. But if you don't have a restriction, you have all these telephone numbers that could be formed. Okay, so this is included in this. Okay, so you are going to have this over this. This is equal to 0.1024. So the probability can be expressed like this or in percentage. Okay, so we are done with question 10 from November 2020. Okay, until next time, I will talk to you soon.